Saudi Arabia and OPEC cut oil production despite President Biden lobbying for a production increase. This while, according to President Biden, that the U.S. is facing an Armageddon-level threat due to Russian President Putin's latest nuclear threats.
For more, we're joined by former Chief of Staff at the National Security Council and former CIA analyst Fred Fleitz. Fred, great to have you with us bright and early, or maybe dark and early, this Monday morning.
Good morning.
All right, so let's dive right in here. Kyiv and Lviv in Ukraine once again under attack, likely as a retaliation for the Crimea bridge that was bombed by the Ukrainians. However, is this considered an Armageddon-level threat? I know the president referenced that about America, but what about for Ukraine?
Well, I think we're seeing retaliation by Putin over the bombing of the bridge at Crimea. I think he's trying to cover for the huge losses he's seeing in eastern Ukraine. More are coming. But look, this Armageddon talk, I think, is very dangerous. If Putin was to use a battlefield tactical nuke in Ukraine, that would be terrible. But that is not an Armageddon, which means the end of the world. And it just shows not only Biden's incompetence, but his fear about how to deal with Russia. You know, words matter, and the words a president uses are weighed by every citizen all around the world. And look, this isn't the first time, but Biden has to be careful what he says on the world stage.
Yeah, Fred, he mentioned that in a closed-door fundraiser a few days ago. President Biden also said that they're trying to find an off-ramp. Again, very odd words for him, because you would hope that the president would be very aggressive and very positive about what the United States is doing. What do you think the administration should be saying right now?
He did make this off-ramp comment. He also said he doesn't see how the use of tactical nukes in Ukraine could not end up with Armageddon, which I think was really irresponsible. I believe that when a megalomaniac with the largest nuclear arsenal on Earth threatens nuclear war, we should take it seriously. I think the U.S. and its European allies should be pushing for negotiations when both sides are ready to do them. But I think we're just seeing confusion. I don't see any strategy by the Biden administration on how to end this conflict.
Yeah, and, China even is now calling for a de-escalation in Ukraine. Could that be impactful, considering the very close relationship between Putin and Xi?
I think so. And, you see a lot of pundits, even on this channel, saying that the Chinese support the war in Ukraine. They're giving weapons to Putin. No, they're not. The Chinese like the Ukraine war because it offsets the West and American interests. But the Chinese don't like this war at all. It's upsetting their global political and economic relationships. They don't like the pressure they're getting from their trade allies over this. They want Putin to wind this war down.
Yeah, absolutely. Fred, I want to turn to Saudi Arabia now. Biden's fist pump with the Saudi Arabian crown prince was not enough to keep OPEC from cutting the oil supply. Do you think this is just another example of Biden's lacking all credibility with world leaders?
Well, remember when Biden went to Saudi Arabia, while he was there, he bragged to the press how he lectured the crown prince over the killing of that Washington Post reporter. This was a terrible visit. It didn't help his relationship with the Saudis. And some people were saying the Saudis are now backing Putin. No, the Saudis are sending a message to Biden. They're not happy about the nuclear talks. They're not happy about the U.S. tapping the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to artificially manipulate prices. The Saudis feel that they're being ignored. They've been treated badly by Biden during the campaign, and as president, this is the result.
And I want to get your thoughts on something else. It does seem that, to Allison's point, that the perception of President Biden on the world stage seems to inspire maybe bad actors around the world to push a little bit to see what they can get away with. And we're seeing here tensions between North and South Korea continuing to mount. North Korea fired 2 ballistic missiles into the waters east of South Korea and flew warplanes near the DMZ. What do you think will happen next? And also, do you think that Kim Jong-un is just kind of desperate for attention at this point, because we've only been hearing about Putin and Xi and other world leaders?
It looks like Kim has fired 46 missiles this year, the most ever in 1 year. The second highest was 35 in 2016. There were no missiles fired in 2018 because of President Trump's diplomacy with Kim. And this started last fall, after the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. It's not hard to put this together. Kim sees a weak American president. He sees an opportunity to bully the West into giving him concessions. And that's why we've seen this huge escalation in missile tests. And it looks like preparations to conduct another nuclear test.
Yeah, Fred, you're so right. We have North Korea, we have China, we have Iran, we have Russia, all watching us and seeing a lot of what's playing out on the world stage. Fred Fleitz, great to have you. Thank you so much, sir.